Am I audible to all of you?
We can hear you, Abhishek, very
All right.
much.
I can hear you too.
All right. All right. Good evening, everyone. Uh, and I welcome everyone who's watching this session live. This is basically a career awareness workshop on law as a career option, wherein we'll be uh, telling students and the future law aspirants about various avenues that they can go for after law. Also, we will also be talking a bit about what is law as a career, and also we'll be talking about what are the entrance exams, what are the good colleges, where to go there. So I'll start with the basic one. First of all, I'll introduce the panel to you. We have Professor Padmanabha. We usually call him Paddy Sir. He is basically Dean of IFIM Law School right now. He's been associated as a dean with various law schools earlier, and he's one of the most academically qualified industry expert that I personally know. And also we have with us Mr. Palash, who is my ex-student, one of the great and lovable students of my career so far. He's an NLS Bangalore alumni, right from the days of his preparation till now. While he's working, he's connected with us in a lot of manners, which and he is by heart an academician. So he is right now also pursuing academic role even after getting graduation from National University Bangalore. So I'll start this session by first of all introducing uh, a bit about law as a career. Now, why we are taking this session, understand this very clearly. We are here to talk, or we are here to give a brief kind of guideline कि आज से 20 साल बाद आप जहाँ पे होंगे उस जगह को एक बार इमेजिन करें, और हमारा एजेंडा है कि अगर आप लॉ या लॉ रिलेटेड करियर को परस्यू करना चाहते हैं, तो आपको वहां पे एक हेल्दी करियर दिखे। सो उसके लिए ये नॉलेज होना बहुत जरूरी है कि आज की डेट के अंदर व्हाट इज गोइंग ऑन इन द फील्ड ऑफ लॉ। एंड आप में से बहुत सारे बच्चों को ऐसा भी लग सकता है कि लॉ करियर के अंदर हमें कुछ भी नहीं पता, तो राइट फ्रॉम स्क्रैच दे वांट टू हियर अबाउट व्हाट लॉ इज ऑल अबाउट एज ए करियर प्रोस्पेक्ट इज कंसर्न। देखो, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, many of you might be from science stream or commerce stream or humanities. It does not matter कि आप कौन से स्ट्रीम से हैं, क्योंकि जो लॉ एंट्रेंस एग्जाम्स है दे आर बेस्ड ऑन स्किल्स, नॉट ऑन नॉलेज ऑफ पर्टिकुलर सब्जेक्ट। द एंट्रेंस एग्जाम्स दैट आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट, इस एज के अंदर बच्चे अधिकतर कंफ्यूज रहते हैं कि कौन सा करियर ऑप्ट करना है। जो भी करियर ऑप्ट करना है वो किन गाइडलाइंस पे हम ऑप्ट करें, या कोई क्राइटेरिया उसका हो ऑप्ट करने का। तो नॉर्मली what I have observed throughout my academic career or teaching career or mentoring career, I should say, normally students take decision under some kind of pressure. It may be a pressure from parent, or it may be a pressure from peer group, or it may be a pressure, it may be a personal pressure. बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि पेरेंट्स के एस्पिरेशंस होती हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ आई एम अ डॉक्टर, आई वांट माय सन टू बी अ डॉक्टर, so my son will always feel a pressure in my of my thoughts of him becoming a doctor for me. That's a kind of parent pressure, but again it's a positive kind of pressure. आजकल बहुत कम हो गया है। आज से 20 साल पहले अगर आप देखोगे तो इस तरह के प्रेशर काफी ज्यादा हुआ करते थे, बट इन टुडे सिनेरियो इट हैज रिड्यूस्ड अ लॉट। सेकंड, पीयर प्रेशर विच इज वेरी 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 डोमिनेंट राइट नाउ। आपके 5 दोस्त क्या कर रहे हैं, फाइन। आप में से बहुत सारे बच्चे हैं जो इस प्रेशर के अंदर अपना करियर ऑप्शन ऑप्ट अगर करेंगे तो दे विल बी एट लॉस इन लॉन्गर रन, fine. And the third is personal pressure. Whenever there is a mismatch in your abilities and your aspirations, you'll always have a personal kind of pressure, fine. So what is my advice to you कि इन 3 pressures के अंदर आके कभी भी आपको डिसीजन नहीं लेना है। The only remedy to such kind of pressure can be knowledge. आप कोई भी करियर ऑप्शन ऑप्ट करना चाहते हैं, वेदर इट मे बी इन फील्ड ऑफ साइंस और इट मे बी फील्ड ऑफ लॉ और समवेयर एल्स, the most elementary requirement is that you should have a sound knowledge of why you are selecting a particular career option as well as why you are rejecting the other career options. Then you can have a balanced and practical approach while selecting a career option. So today we'll be talking about law as a career option, and I'll ask 4 questions from you. First is, do you enjoy argument? Do you enjoy advising and counseling people? Are there social issues that you really feel about? बहुत सारे ऐसे सोशल इश्यूज हैं जिनको लेके हमारे एक विचार होते हैं, एक ओपिनियन होती है। इधर में क्रिटिसाइज इट और वी अप्रिशिएट इट, फाइन। आर यू फैसिनेटेड बाय बिजनेस वर्ल्ड? This is a one huge addition to law as a career option. Fine. अगर इन 4 में से किसी भी क्वेश्चन का आंसर अगर आपका यस है, then this particular field is for you all. Fine. Why? आप यहाँ पे बहुत सारे बच्चे ये भी डिसाइड नहीं कर पाते हाउ टू चूज ए फील्ड, कि हम किस तरह के करियर ऑप्शंस में जाएं. तो जहां तक मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है उसके बेसिस पे बहुत सिंपल सा क्राइटेरिया है. आप पहले ये डिसाइड कीजिए कि आप क्लास के अंदर अच्छे हैं कि क्लास के बाहर. इफ यू आर गुड आउटसाइड क्लास, प्रोबेबली यू शुड गो फॉर एन स्किल बेस्ड काइंड ऑफ करियर, बिकॉज योर पर्सनैलिटी डोमिनेट्स योर नॉलेज. अगर आप क्लास के अंदर ज्यादा अच्छे हैं, then you are a knowledge driven personality, then you should go for career options which are knowledge driven, conventional career option. For example, engineering is there, CA, medical. यहाँ पे सब्जेक्ट की नॉलेज चाहिए होती है. Whether on the other hand, when you talk about law as a career option, जो entrance exam है, they are going to ask about aptitude. तो वहां पे आपका स्किल सेट डोमिनेट करना चाहिए. दे डू नॉट बॉदर कि आप साइंस से पढ़ के आए हैं, कि आप कॉमर्स के सब्जेक्ट पढ़ के आ रहे हैं, कि आप आर्ट्स के सब्जेक्ट पढ़ के आ रहे हैं. व्हाट दे वांट इज, आर यू कॉम्पिटेबल इनफ, कि वो वहां पे आपको जब ट्रेन करेंगे तो आप उस ट्रेनिंग को अच्छे एप्टीट्यूड और अच्छे लर्निंग एटीट्यूड के साथ एब्जॉर्ब करेंगे क्या. दिस इज व्हाट दे रिक्वायर. तो उसके लिए ये एक एप्टीट्यूड बेस्ड काइंड ऑफ टेस्ट के थ्रू होता है. फाइन. जो मेजर लॉ एंट्रेंस एग्जाम है उनके बारे में मैं आगे लेटर बात करूंगा. But before I start, I'll start first question from Paddy sir. Sir, as per you, what are the basic attributes that is been required for a student to pursue law as a career? जो भी बच्चे law as a career opt करना चाहते हैं, तो since you are a dean of a law college, so I want to ask कि ऐसे क्या attributes बच्चों में होने चाहिए to pursue law as a career?
थैंक यू अभिषेक, पहले बात मेरे को बुलाने के लिए इस इंटरेक्शन में, एंड आई एम रियली ग्रेटफुल टू क्लैट प्रेप. You guys have been producing really the top students. Palash is already here. I've been interacting with him while he was your student inside the coaching institute. And I think I also picked him that he will go to National Law School, Bangalore, after my brief interaction with him. But I just have to say, year and year, you guys are doing a great job by not only, coaching students, but also guiding them on the right path. And I've interacted with many of your parents also in many of the forums. They're extremely happy. This is a very, very relevant question that you've asked me, Abhishek. What are the attributes should a student have who's thinking about getting into a legal profession, or who's thinking about going through a legal education? These attributes were more or less defined. But what I want to tell you is, the new student who's conceiving law, who's thinking about law, there are very interesting attributes that are getting added to his skill sets now, which were not there maybe in the last 10-15 years. But keeping the future of legal profession into consideration, keeping next 10-15-20 years where they may actually create make an impactful lawyer, keeping that in mind, there are some very interesting attributes which they should have. Now, earlier, if you go 10 years back, technology skills were not that important for a lawyer to get into a legal profession. Was not important in sense, you had to know your basic technology skills. But today, if you ask me, I think technology skills is going to, technology skills in terms of advanced technology skills becomes really, really critical. We are thinking about how the entire litigation space, entire advocacy space may get actually shifted into online, how the idea of litigation may get shifted into alternates of litigation like negotiation, mediation, and even for that matter, online dispute settlement mechanisms may actually start functioning. We are all in a very difficult time, and many of you should have actually read what my one of the favorite judges whom I follows, Justice Chandrachud. He's been very beautifully articulating, how the Supreme Court is functioning and how the Supreme Court will continue to function, and what kind of technology, the courts are trying to, at this point of time, embrace to make sure that the court matters are being heard even while we are all at home. Almost every state is still in lockdown, and we are slowly coming out of the lockdown, only to see the next wave, that is the third wave, to basically cases increase, and again we go back to the lockdown. So I want the students to keep this in mind, that technology skill, which may not have been that very important previous generation, I think for Generation Z to create their own unique space, for Generation Z to become a unique lawyer, I think technology skills become really, really important. I think there's another skill which is which is actually becoming very, very, very important for lawyers is the resilience skill. Or I say resilience is how tough you are. How much an impactful lawyer you can become is how resilient you are. Because this skill I am noticing. Many students get into the practice of law, and after 1 or 2 years, they actually give up the practice of law and try to see what alternate careers they have. You have to be very resilient. It's not very easy to sustain the practice or advocacy. Even for that matter, Palash also knows it's not very easy to work in a, it looks very nice from outside that you're working for a law firm. Only when you're inside, how many hours that you're actually putting, what are the sacrifices you're making, and how difficult it is for you to carve into a very unique lawyer. So I'm not discouraging people, but I'm trying to say that those skills which were not looked into by students are increasingly becoming important. Technology skills is right up on the ladder, followed by entrepreneurial skills, resilience skills, and I think even a bit of agility and adaptability skills are also really, really important. I'll talk them in detail, but I also want my fellow colleague and panelist also to reflect. So I would stop here now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Paddy. It's a wonderful answer. And I hope you have got all the points, and specifically the resilience part you said. It is applicable to all good colleges and all challenging careers, whether you are from IIT or IIM or NLUs. If you cannot take pressure, if you cannot withstand the stress, you cannot grow. So make this one thing very clear. In future, you have to face a lot of challenges, and you have to be mentally prepared for that. And so rightly said by Professor Paddy. So let me come to Palash now. Palash, since you have been to law school recently, you have
Yes,
graduated
sir.
this year only, last
Yes,
year
sir.
only. So what I want from you is, how is basically life at law school, since you have
Okay,
lived that life
so
for 5 years? Okay.
let me preface my answer with saying that life at law school is the best experience I have had in a long time. But that answer has to be of necessity subjective. Now, why do I say that? I say that, sir, because all the students listening to would gain something out of it, because every person you ask this question will have a different story to tell you, will have a different response to give. Now that happens, do not be influenced by one person's story. So I'll give you a broad-based idea about how it works. Now, Professor Paddy hit it right on its head. You have to be resilient, and I will say, stepping day one into law school, you'll have 100-page reading to do, and it'll be due yesterday. So if you're not resilient, in fact, if like as Nassim Nicholas Taleb, who's an author, I would recommend all of you read, says that you don't just have to be resilient, you have to be anti-fragile. You have to learn how to thrive in adversity. Now, law school gives you a broad-based idea of the different things you can do. Life at law school is not just all work, however, it is definitely not all play. It's sort of a place where you're exposed to a lot of different places and ideas and concepts that you would not be exposed to otherwise. Now, at law school, imagine a place where there's 400 other kids just like you who are going to make a living out of argumentation, professional argumentation. So you can imagine it is not a place where you can get away with saying things or not thinking things through to their logical outcomes, right? So law school will expose you to a milieu, to a fora, which will help you develop your skills in your thinking skills, your rationalizing, your argumentation ability, and your critical thinking to a point that would be unparalleled. But that is not to say law. This is the part that you have to do. This is just the bread and butter of law school, right? You have to learn how to argue. You have to learn how to read. So a typical week in law school would be like you'll have about 40 hours of reading for about 12 hours of classes. Then you'll have assignments due. Then you'll have work. But that is not to say you'll just have that. You'll also have time to relax. You'll have time to build relationships. Legal fraternity is notorious for how relationship based and networking based it is, and a lot of that you learn at law school. So it gives you a lot of people skills, it gives you academic skills, and you also have time to yourself if you can manage that. That is. So do not be fazed by the fact that you will be put into this battlefield and you're a gladiator who has to fight for their life every day. That is true, but that is not all of it. There are other things to it too. Yeah.
All right, all right. Great, great, great to hear. So let me come to Professor Paddy now. As Palash said, that there are a lot of reading required in this particular career option or law student. For a law student, reading is a must, and that's why they have changed the CLAT pattern also. I hope you all might be agree that reading is the one of the most essential part of new age lawyers. They have to read a lot and they have to interpret a lot from what they are reading. So, Paddy, can you give me a brief light of what are the kind of subjects that people are going to study in a law school?
We all know that, as far as law subjects are concerned, a bit of that is regulated by Bar Council of India. So if you look at the compulsory courses are actually laid down by Bar Council of India, be it torts, be it contracts, be it constitution, be it, administrative law, or be it criminal, CRPC or CPC or IPC, all these courses are very clearly laid down. But I think the exciting bit for me when I went to law school is to look forward to the elective courses, look forward to those super specialization courses, look forward to those skill-based courses, look forward to those clinical courses, look forward to I would say practice-based and experiential learning courses. Because at the end of the day, if you look at the way the legal profession is focused towards building a 21st century lawyer, the legal knowledge based courses are at the base of the triangle. You can imagine a triangle, and the legal knowledge courses would be at the base of the triangle. On the right side, you will have the skill-based courses, which are really, really critical for students, because I think knowledge is one thing. Nobody's going to ask you what sections you have to memorize. But what you have to actually develop is the ability to synthesize, ability to develop problem solving, design thinking. First of all, you need to design your problem and then start applying what kind of rules could be useful in solving that problem solving. So on the right hand side of the triangle, you'll have the skills that you need to really develop, and therefore the skill based courses become really, really important. On the left side of the triangle, you have to build your business acumen, your leadership skills, your entrepreneurial skills, which actually correlate in becoming a great lawyer. So you have to imagine yourself this: if you are going to law school, if you are thinking about legal education, there will be the foundation rock knowledge based courses which you will have to study. But how you develop that specializations using business specializations or skill-based courses is something that you need to really pay attention to. So what excited me was really the skill-based courses, because how you develop these skills, client counseling, be it or be it forensic science, understanding how to read evidences. So those things really interested me, because there every student can think differently. The sections are the same for everybody, the case laws are the same for everybody, but where you actually bring your difference is in the interpretation or in the synthesis, how you are planning to synthesize what you study, your ability to create a unique solution for a problem. There your uniqueness comes. Those things are basically those two triangles that you can emphasize. The left and the right hand side courses actually create a lot of value add. So those courses really excited me. And if you are going to the law schools, watch out for those courses. Watch out for some interesting seminars that are actually coming and being delivered in a law school. Watch out for your weekend, I would say distinguished lectures or conferences that are being organized by students. Watch out for those things. I think those create a lot of value add.
That's great. It's a wonderful insight about what they're going to study at law school. I would also like Palash, if you have something to add to this particular question, that what you basically study at National Law University, in fact, I should say, one of the topmost law colleges of India.
Professor Padmanabhan hit it on its head. That is exactly, from my personal experience. So when I was working at a law firm, they'd ask, so a lot of law firms make a lot of money on execution of documents, right? You have to get certain things executed, which is basically there's this legal thing. Now, how do we make this enforceable? There have to be some things have to be done to do that. That is an execution of a document. So when we were doing that, we had to figure out what is the most favorable jurisdiction to be doing so. Now, if you just focus on the law, what happened was, when I was researching on this and I made a list, I tabulated the legal Delhi mein kya jurisdiction mein kya hoga, Rajasthan mein kya hoga, because the company had a few offices. my principal associate, the one I was reporting to, told me, okay, but this is the legal position. How do we pitch? The client doesn't care about the law. The client cares about saving money, right? The client cares, there's time value of money. How do you save that for the client? And that is what matters. So when Professor Padmanabhan says, watch out for the courses, that is of crucial, paramount importance. You have to start. So 18 courses, if I'm not wrong, I think are what our council says. These are the ये minimum 18 courses हैं तुम्हें पढ़ने हैं to take the bar later. Now, but over and above that, law schools teach you, any law school will teach you anywhere between 40 to 60 courses, right? So you have more than twice the number of mandatory courses to decide how you want to take yourself forward. And if you do not build your profile through your elective or seminar courses, things are going to get a little difficult for you in the future. So choice of courses and putting in the extra work is of paramount importance. If you do not, like, of course there is no one mandating you to do it, but then you'll not be able to give intuitive solutions to the client. It's not, so there's that saying, right? It doesn't it doesn't matter how many hours you work, it is what value do you bring to those hours. And that value you can only bring if you studied in a certain way. If you spend time कि चलो आज मैं corporate law का ये seminar कर लेता हूँ, कल मैं criminal law का elective करूँगा, that is good. It gives you a broad based idea of things, but it doesn't help you build a profile. Building profiles is how you need to go through in life, and Professor Padmanabhan is right that you need to focus on these things.
That's great to hear, Palash. I recall one of my student who was basically a Hindi medium student, and he worked a lot while preparing for CLET exam. He went to a top premier law school, and in the third year when he came back to me, he said, sir, I am publishing an article in international magazine, an international journal on some particular law topic. And I felt very proud of that, because I have seen number of students evolving out when they're studying in law school. So basically, as both of them said, that you will be exposed to number of skill based as well as knowledge based kind of combination of subjects, which is the new age kind of curriculum, we should say. The old age curriculum is conventional knowledge based things. The new age curriculum is when you mix up skill based requirement, industry requirements to those along with those knowledge based courses. So that's what is happening in national universities, and that's what they all said कि आपको लीगल नॉलेज तो पूरी होगी ही, लॉ ऑफ कॉन्टेक्ट्स, लॉ ऑफ क्राइम, लॉ ऑफ टार्च, ये सब तो आप पढ़ोगे, साथ में व्हाट आई हैव फेल्ट, आई हैव फील द डिफरेंस इन द स्टूडेंट्स जो मेरे पास जब 12th के बाद यहाँ पे थे, दे वेंट टू लॉ स्कूल, दे केम बैक आफ्टर 3-4 years, एंड व्हेन आई इंटरेक्टेड देम, उनका कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल एक बहुत, इट इज ऑन द 7th cloud. They are super confident. There is no what they said to me in the easiest language, sir, हम वकील बन रहे हैं, हमें तो बोलने के पैसे मिलेंगे. So we are very confident and very articulative because we know the facts. I know as a lawyer what I can do, but you might not be aware of fully, you might not fully be aware of what you can do. So basically, being a lawyer is having knowledge of what can happen to and what you can do to others, and that will definitely boost up your morals also, your confidence also, or amazing confidence level, amazing interaction level, amazing writing skills that my students have gathered through national universities, and right now they are working a lot. बहुत अच्छी जगहों पे काम कर रहे हैं. इस पे अपन I'll discuss that later. Palash, I want to ask from you, मेरे से बहुत सारे students और parents से पूछते हैं कि to get success in law as a career, is it required that should have a legal background? कि हम पहले से हमारे पेरेंट्स या कोई फैमिली में कोई लॉयर होगा तो ही हमें आगे अच्छा सक्सेसफुल करियर मिलेगा, ऐसा क्वेश्चन मुझसे बहुत सारे पेरेंट्स और बच्चे पूछते हैं. सो ऐसे कि मैं डायरेक्टली जो इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट जो बच्चे आप पूछ रहे हैं, सिंस यू हैव लॉट ऑफ फ्रेंड्स विद यू जो एनालिस्ट में पढ़े हैं आपके साथ, उनमें से लॉयर बैकग्राउंड वाले भी होंगे और बहुत अलग डाइवर्स बैकग्राउंड के लोग भी होंगे. सो इज इट रिक्वायर्ड या ऐसा कोई एडवांटेज है या डिसएडवांटेज है अगर आप लॉ बैकग्राउंड से नहीं होते हैं तो?
ओके, ये क्वेश्चन काफी पूछा जाता है. So behavioral economics theory में concept होता है first of the block advantage होता है. So जिस इंसान की family ने, if they've started a law while back, let's say if they've started practice of law 2 generations ago, I won't deny that of course they have an advantage in starting the practice of law. ये बात कोई deny नहीं कर सकता. There's also a network that they've built. It's easy if you just plug into the network, no? You already have the system built. So of course people who are already from existing legal background should have an advantage. Nobody would deny that. But that to take that and to extrapolate from that and then say this means that non-lawyers and people from non-legal backgrounds cannot do well in law is a logical fallacy. That's simply not true. It's fallacious reasoning, and it should be refuted whenever you hear it. Now, why do I say that? I am a first generation lawyer. AC sir and Professor Padmanabhan, I'm sure, have trained generations of first generation lawyers at this point. You would have to have, of course, things will not be given to you on a silver platter, but that is true for any profession. No, you become a doctor, that's true for them. You become a CA, that's true for them. There are dynasties in every field. Then why single out law? This is true. This is just a fact of life. You have to get through it. Now, first generation lawyers like me, and I hope some of the students in this chat would have to work just a little bit harder, but they also have to work smarter. And if they do that, if you get the good grades, see, how do you enter the legal profession? You build good relationships. Families help because they help you build that relationship. However, families are a sufficient but not a necessary condition to build that relationship, right? You can build those relationships through college networking. You can build that through doing amazing work. You can build that through being diligent at your internships. So just think of it as one advantage that somebody has, which is not a consequential determinative factor. It would help, but it's not the end of the world. तो अगर आप पहले अपने पूरे परिवार में जो शायद कॉलेज ही जा रहा है पहली बार, do not think कि आपका इसमें कोई डिसएडवांटेज हो जाएगा या आप इसमें कुछ पीछे रह जाएंगे. थोड़ा सा आपको स्मार्टली काम करना है, रिलेशनशिप्स बिल्ड करेंगे, मेहनत करेंगे, तो इट इज पॉसिबल. इट्स नॉट अ परमानेंट हैंडीकैप इज व्हाट आई एम सेइंग.
All right, so as far as answer is concerned, definitely अगर आप लॉ फील्ड से हैं तो आपको एडवांटेज होगा. इट्स द सेम कंसेप्ट यू वांट वी आर परस्यूइंग ए मेडिकल करियर और आपके फादर मदर एस्टेब्लिश डॉक्टर अगर कहीं पे हैं तो डेफिनेटली वंस यू ग्रेजुएट आपको एक बेस मिल जाता है. दैट्स ट्रू फॉर एवरी करियर ऑप्शन, नॉट ओनली इन लॉ. बट अगेन इफ यू आर नॉट फ्रॉम लॉ बैकग्राउंड, आपके फादर इंजीनियर हैं, मदर हाउसवाइफ है, even in that case you can have an equal advantage and equal outcome for being a lawyer, provided you are working hard at National University. I think that's what Palash said. Fine. Professor Paddy, would you like to add something to this particular question of mine?
Yes, to some extent, I agree with what Palash had to say, but I wanted to add on to this conversation which we are actually making. See, it is very important to know today, that you don't need godfathers to create success in your legal profession. You don't need. There's a very famous statement made by Mahesh Jethmalani a few days before. I really didn't know how to switch on my laptop till the COVID hit me hard, because these people have no idea what computers look like, what laptops look like. I'm talking about one of the very senior most lawyer in the country, Mahesh Jethmalani, right? So you have to know the national law schools are just evolving, whereas the medical schools were evolved before even national law schools evolved. So you have to know that in India, there are at least 25 million lawyers who will be replaced. Because these lawyers who came into the legal profession in the beginning, their first choice was not law. They got into law because they didn't get into engineering or medicine. And therefore, they're just in this profession, maybe because, they could not be successful in any other profession. You have to know about that. That is how legal profession was treated many, many years back. But today, the ideation about quality national law schools, quality private law schools is getting students who are actually interested in studying law to get into this profession of law. So they're coming into this thinking that they can actually create an impact. They're coming into this profession thinking that they can actually make a social change. So I think that idea itself is so strong that people, who are entering into or who have entered into this profession just because they could not do anything else better will definitely get replaced. Professor Madhav Menon very clearly said, he was a person who was leading this project called legal incubation. He said that 25 million lawyers need to come back to law school for education. They have no clue, and they have no idea as to what they're actually doing. So if you understand this, that it's not just getting into the legal profession, but you actually can replace them because you have the quality of legal education for you is much better than what education was actually given to them decades ago. I think that in next 10 years it'll be only first generation lawyers, Abhishek. You take it from me, because people are I see an increasing trend in people coming and creating very boutique law firms which are doing immensely, increasingly good. I know at least 5 of my students, are doing 5 very neat initiatives which are like standalone. Nobody else in India have done before or even can make an effort to do. So they've been able to conceive this. They are not the people who are supported by their parents. And at the same time, you also need to know, even if your father is having a law firm, it is in your best interest, to go into a law school and come back and see and how you can create a value to that. If you get struck to the idea of, okay, this is the set thing, for all that, that entire profession could get replaced, and we are actually at that stage. Next 10, 20 years, litigation will be very less spoken. Preemptive litigation, or how to avoid litigation, or how to settle a litigation will be more spoken. So that kind of a skill set, that kind of a mindset, I think is still not there, and it will slowly evolve with the new generation of lawyers actually getting into legal profession. And you have to know, till today, legal profession enjoyed this luxury of huge transaction fee, but I think future it is going to be treated as services. You have to charge the cost, whatever cost you see, what is the value service you give. It will become a legal driven by a legal services industry. That is bound to happen. Palash would have read the idea of transaction, the problem of social cost. Whenever this, the social cost theory very clearly says, whenever there is a huge cost, either the machines will replace or some technology interventions will happen. The cost of access to justice will be brought down. You have to know today 50% of middle class and 80% of the poor class have no access to justice in India today. They can't even fight a case in a court of law. That will actually start bridging, because the cost of litigation will come down. New generation lawyers will be able to cover and take this to a broader audience than that is actually restricted to urban crowd today.
All right, thank you, Paddy, for this wonderful insight. I have seen a lot of changes in Palash, but I should not speak other than I should rather ask Palash. Palash, what are the basic value addition you got at National Law University while studying there?
Oh, all right. That's a little difficult to answer. So
I know the Palash that was with me while preparing for CLAT exam, and I know the Palash right now, but it's better that I should hear from you, so that all the fellow young lawyers, young aspirants who are watching this session live, they'll understand the impact of studying in a law school.
Okay, so before I start, I think some people are posting questions in the comments. So whenever you would feel like addressing them.
Yes, we'll address the questions. If I'll also ask everybody watching live, if you have any question, you can put in the comment box. We'll try to discuss all the questions one-on-one in the later half of the session.
All right. So the one thing that I have personally seen change in me is that, there's a confirmation bias always operating on you. So you want to believe something to be true and you subscribe to that position. And whenever you see anything, you see it from that lens. There's tunnel vision effect happening on you all the time, even though you might not be aware of it. The first thing law school taught me was, whatever you believe in, always look at it from a different perspective, because law school require you to, turn courts very often. You have to play the devil's advocate. Often what happens in law school is the professor would cold call on you, ask you, is case mein kya hua tha, what were the arguments? And then on the spot, you would be asked, okay, if you had to refute this argument, how would you refute it? What would be your possible argument? And this is also what you get asked on most of your exams, right? कि दोनों side से argue करो, फिर pick whichever argument you like better. Now, the one thing so before I went to law school, I always thought that there is one way of looking at it, and one way has to trump the other in all cases. एक answer है जो universally हर answer पे जीतेगा in a given scenario. That illusion has been shattered. It's not about right or wrong. It's about well argued and not so well argued. That's one thing that I've seen. The other thing I've seen is not as much about law school, but about the exposure that it gave me. So this is me coming from Jaipur, speaking about people in Jaipur. So we do not have a lot of exposure to the big ideas that are often discussed, by university professors in hallowed halls of universities, national law schools, all of that. When I went to law school, our history professor started her lecture, and she, within the first 10 minutes, had discussed 10 ideas about dialectical materialism and liberalism, libertarianism, the progressive view of history, or that view of history. I had no idea. To be clear, I still do not agree with a lot of what was taught in law school, especially in the art courses. But to be aware of that idea, to have that idea exposed to you, so you can. John Stuart Mill in his On Liberty has said that all ideas should be discussed, and that is why should that happen is because if that idea is wrong, you would defeat it on the strength of its argument, and that would be dispatched to the annals of history. However, if it is right, you have the opportunity to change your own position, and that is what law school has done for me, to shatter preconceived notions, to agree to know that there is not just one way of looking at it but multiple ways of looking at it, to the exposure to different ideas, to the way how things work in the real world, because we have a lot of clinical courses, so internships and then later clinical courses, we have to simulate a lot of legal activity in the classroom. You do a lot of that and you realize that you have a skill set which you walk out of in law school, which in a lot of professional courses otherwise. For instance, my friends who are doing professional courses in interior designing, or I would even say engineering, do not have that practical exposure because engineering schools are now comfortable. They're set in a rut. They're like, this is how we do things. This is how we will continue doing it. Law schools are hungry people. They have to become the king of the hill. So they're always ready to innovate. They're always bringing in new things. So this is how I see things.
That's wonderful. So it's a great learning graph at law school, as per Palash sir. Paddy sir, बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट पूछते हैं सर व्हाट इज डिफरेंस बिटवीन अ 5-year लॉ कोर्स और अ 3-year लॉ कोर्स, और इनफैक्ट अगर मैं 5-year लॉ कोर्स में जाता हूँ तो व्हाट शुड आई गो फॉर BA-LLB or BB-LLB or BCom-LLB, like some of the NLUs offers some combination of courses also. So since you are from the industry, I would love to ask you ki, what are the basic difference between 3-year course and a 5-year course to start with, and then we'll discuss what is difference between BA-LLB and BB-LLB.
Sure, I'll take that question. Thank you. But before that, if you give me 1 minute to reflect what Palash said,
Sure.
Because
Definitely.
I think Palash is absolutely right. The law school always gives a lot of things for you to validate, invalidate, argue, debate, deliberate. But I think Palash is absolutely right. It always comes down to the student. How you are able to observe the information that is coming your way. Mind you, there will be a lot of information coming by your way. There are a lot of reading materials that will be pushed to your reading. I think another added thing which I would always say is as a law student, your ability to read and ability to collect and also analyze that information is another skill. It automatically gets developed. While Palash was saying, right, he was sitting in the history class, like 10 concepts were given to him in the first 10 minutes of your class, right? So how you synthesize that, how you take it, how you go back, at least you have to make an effort to know what it is, right? So that learning process you'll always be on that foot of learning, because there'll be always new concepts coming in the class. There'll be always that new ideas coming in the class. And it is up to you how much, this is what we call as a directed learning. When we throw 10 concepts, we'll speak about one. The other 9, we expect the students to actually go and do some research. Their research skills improve. Go and do some reading. Their reading skills will improve. So that kind of a directed learning also happens, and that happens in quality law schools much more than other schools. So just wanted to add to what Palash was saying. The second thing you asked me is, we all have to know that till 1986, till the National Law School Bangalore was actually created and established by Professor Madhav Menon, law as a curricula or law as a pedagogy or law as, I would say, the means to the ends of becoming a lawyer was only available as a 3-year LLB course. Because I think you had to become a graduate and then study a 3-year LLB program, pursuant to which you could actually go and practice law. And actually, Professor Madhav Menon beautifully articulated this in his earlier vision paper as to why he wanted to start an integrated program, because he said that an engineer doesn't have to wait. He can start immediately after class 12. A medical professional need not wait. He could start after class 12. Why a lawyer or a professional course as law should wait for a graduation? And then he conceived this 5-year integrated law program. So it's not just how advantageous it is, but what you can do in 5 years, thinking about law and starting to study law and studying law all throughout your 5 years, it helps you to get to those super specialized courses, helps you to get to those elective and optional courses much more than in the 3-year LLB form where you have lesser time. So obviously today the favorite course amongst the law students is the 5-year integrated law course. But having said that, even traditional universities like Campus Law Center Delhi have produced maximum number of Supreme Court lawyers who have come out, are all coming out, through that the CLC. That might be because in the last generation of law, advocates were all important people all went to Campus Law Center to study. But I think the next 20-30 years it would change. You can see many of them coming from the new law schools also to becoming the judges in high courts, which is already happening. And I think we need to take account into it. The second question that you asked is BA and BBA. I just feel that you need to see this as a law program. You are at the end of the day studying a bachelor's of law program. You are 90% of the courses are law courses. When it comes to law courses, either you study BA or BBA, the foundational courses which actually make a difference as far as you getting a job, whether in a law firm or in a lawyer's office or in a corporate legal framework or in an NGO, it's actually determined by how much of legal acumen that you have developed in these courses, or what kind of super specialized or elective based law courses that you have done. So I would say that students, first of all, you should not look at the BA or BBA. Rather, you should look at who's teaching you that law courses. Who are the faculties who are actually teaching you that law courses will be a better ideation for you to select a law school rather than just blindly going with BA or BBA. Because I feel, those 10 or 12 courses are not going to make you that much of difference. In fact, Palash has gone to a law firm. You may know that sometimes the BBA courses may be inch helpful in terms of creating that business acumen when you are actually practicing in a corporate law firm setup. So this is a myth. I would rather say focus on law. You are law graduates. You are going to law school to pursue legal education. What should determine your thought processes? Who are teaching you that law courses? How well you can develop the knowledge based on those law courses that are being taught? What are the interesting elective and optional courses that are being developed in law? I think those should be the more focused questions rather than B or BB at this point.
All right. Thank you, buddy, for answering this question. I would also like Palash to throw some light on it, because since you have been working with number of students, number of your colleagues might have from different background. Some of them might be from BBA, LLB. So does it make a difference, or it's a kind of one additional course? That's it.
Professor Padmanabhan again got it right. Focus on the law courses. That's your bread and butter. Of course, as there's, I think UPS is a university which I think offers all three: BSc LLB, PB LLB, and BA LLB. I mean, okay, if you're going to be practicing petroleum law or perhaps the only place where I've seen a specialization in a non-legal way would help you is in the practice of patent law. Because patent law, if you're doing patent law, it's such a specialized area of law. It's microbiology, biotechnology, engineering. If you cannot be a successful patent lawyer if you do not know the nuts and bolts of the subject you're patenting for, that is one place where perhaps focusing on the other courses, if you're doing a BSc LLB for instance, would help. But otherwise, it's the difference is negligible, if at all. Because what again, the point is that they need you to know the law, but they need you to know how to apply the law meaningfully. And that you learn through legal training. You have to callous your mind into thinking into that way, right? You have to learn to think like a lawyer. And once you can think like a lawyer, you can apply any skill you have. It's almost fully transferable. So focus on the legal courses. That's what matters.
That's wonderful. I would also like all the people who are attending this webinar. Like earlier, what happened is you have to go for a 3-year graduation course and then 3-year LLB course. Fine. जब तक आपने LLB कोर्स में एनरोल नहीं कराया तब तक आपकी ग्रेजुएशन की वैल्यू थी यू आर फ्रॉम BA और यू आर BSc और यू आर BCom. The moment you did 3-year LLB course post the graduation, now you become lawyer. Now people will treat you like a lawyer. The same is applicable over here also, whether you are from BBA LLB or BSc LLB or BB LLB. As other two person rightly said, it's more about LLB law course. Yes, I usually talk to student and parent and I guide a bit और पढ़ता हूँ. इससे बहुत ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ता. But again, yes, if you want to pursue, आपका गोल अभी से क्लियर है कि मुझे आगे जाके सिविल सर्विसेज की तैयारी करनी है, या जुडिशरी एग्जाम्स की तैयारी करनी है, देन प्रोबेबली बीए वुड बी ए बेटर चॉइस फॉर यू। और बहुत स्लाइट एडवांटेज, ऐसा नहीं कि बहुत बड़ा डिफरेंस इट क्रिएट होता है। आई हैव सीन नंबर ऑफ बीबीए एलएलबी और बीकॉम एलएलबी स्टूडेंट्स क्रैकिंग दीज एग्जाम्स आल्सो। या अगर आप चाहते हैं कि मैं कॉर्पोरेट में ही जाऊंगा, आई वुड नॉट प्रैक्टिस, आई वुड गो टू कॉर्पोरेट जॉब्स, कॉर्पोरेट फर्म्स, देन बीबीए एलएलबी माइट गिव यू सम slight advantage over your operations of working while you are in the environment of your corporate law firms, क्योंकि वहां थोड़ा बिजनेस मैनेजमेंट से रिलेटेड सब्जेक्ट्स आपको पढ़ा दी जाएंगे। बट अगेन मोर और लेस 98% they are same, because the dominant qualification would be as a lawyer, and the application of law is what is more relevant and more important to all of you. So BLLB, BBLLB, BCom LLB, anything will do, प्रोवाइडेड बहुत ही 1% बच्चे ऐसे होते हैं जिनका अभी से फोकस क्लियर होता है कि हमें 5 साल बाद ये करना है। रेस्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट जब वो थर्ड ईयर ऑफ लॉ कोर्स में पढ़ रहे होते हैं, देन दे विल डिसाइड कि हमें आगे क्या करना है। सो इट वोंट मेक एनी डिफरेंस। आई ऑल्सो हैड सम क्वेश्चंस रिगार्डिंग आज 2020 में जो बच्चों ने एडमिशन लिया है एनालिस्ट में, क्या उनकी क्लासेस अभी चल रही है? डेफिनेटली रवि, सबकी क्लासेस अभी चल रही हैं। इट्स डेफिनेटली इज गोइंग इन ऑनलाइन मोड। पलाश को भी पता है, पलाश ने काफी अपने एंड का सेमेस्टर ट्राइमेस्टर शायद ऑनलाइन ही करा है, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग पलाश।
यस सर, पूरा इनफैक्ट मेरा लास्ट सेमेस्टर करंट ग्रेजुएटिंग बैच का पूरा ग्रेजुएटिंग ईयर हैज बीन ऑनलाइन।
ओके, also one more query was there, what is the best way to study for CLAT? Fine. So before answering it and before asking you people to guide students about, I'll just introduce a bit about CLAT to the young law aspirant. देखिए, CLAT basically is common law admission, and it's basically a unified exam for all national law universities except NLU Delhi. NLU Delhi अपना खुद का अलग एग्जाम कराता है, that is ALAT. Fine. More or less, they check student on the same level, but the things changed last year when CLAT paper pattern has changed, and it has changed a lot. So now we have two kind of paper patterns. One is old pattern, which is NLU Delhi ALAT is still following, and what is new pattern, which is heavily dominated by reading skills of the student, which is the new CLAT pattern. Fine. Subjects that they're going to ask from you is general knowledge. You should be a regular reader of newspapers. Fine. Then you should say I am preparing for general knowledge of CLAT exam. Normally what student do, they go short notes, shortcuts, site se question yaad kar lena. That's not preparing yourself for GK. Fine. GK preparation actually will come when you have developed a sense of GK, when you start arguing with the facts and figures that has been present in the news in front of you. Otherwise what you will do is, अगर न्यूज में कुछ भी लिखा है आप उसको एक्सेप्ट करना शुरू कर दोगे विदाउट आर्ग्यूमेंट्स। फाइन। तो दिस इंटरनल आर्ग्यूमेंटेशन जिस दिन चालू होगा उस दिन आप मानना आप जीके पढ़ रहे हैं। फाइन। सो फॉर दैट यू शुड बी ए रेगुलर रीडर ऑफ न्यूज़पेपर। करंट अफेयर्स प्रोमिनेंटली इसमें आती है क्लैट एग्जाम के अंदर। देन वी हैव रीजनिंग। अर्लियर ओल्ड पैटर्न एलेट पैटर्न वाज यू हैव लॉजिकल रीजनिंग, एनालिटिकल रीजनिंग एंड क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग। जो नया पैटर्न है उसमें क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग बहुत ज्यादा डोमिनेट करती है। लाइक व्हाट द आर्ग्यूमेंट, व्हाट द अजम्पशंस, व्हाट द कंक्लूजन, व्हाट शुड बी द कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन। इन्फ्रेंस बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस बहुत सारे आने लग गए हैं। फाइन। Then we talk about mathematics. Mathematics is one of the most sideline kind of subject, but yes, it is there. Palash is smiling since I have taught him mathematics. And but again, it's you have to respect the paper pattern, whatever you are preparing for. Maths सिर्फ limited scope रहता है, but again, it's good for upgradation of national universities and ranks. I have seen number of student getting into NLU जिनकी मैथ्स थोड़ी सी वीक होती है, बट अगेन इफ यू वांट टू गो टू टॉप 5 or 6 NLUs, देन योर मैथ्स शुड बी ऑफ गुड लेवल। तभी आप वो एक्स्ट्रा बंच ऑफ मार्क्स स्कोर कर पाओगे जो आपको एक NLU पटियाला से NLU बैंगलोर जाने के लिए जो आपको एक्स्ट्रा 10-15 नंबर चाहिए, उसके लिए मैथ्स बहुत ज्यादा हेल्पफुल रहती है। दैट्स ऑल वी यूज्ड टू से टू स्टूडेंट्स। सो मैथ्स क्लास 9-10 क्लास तक की आपके पास आती है, not very detailed or hard kind of maths, very simple elementary aptitude based calculation maths आती है। CLAT के नए पैटर्न में they are going to ask in the form of data interpretation. Like earlier conventional pattern was one question's data and one answer. In new pattern what happened is they combine data of 5 questions in a single pictorial representation that can be a line graph or a table or can be a caselet, एक paragraph है। You have to extract data from that and then do mathematical calculations. That's it. तो पूछने का तरीका बदला है, अदरवाइज मोर और लेस सेम। We talk about English usually there were a lot of grammar, vocabulary, foreign words, para jumbles and fill in the blanks and some reading comprehension. This was old CLAT pattern. New CLAT pattern is all about reading comprehension, and that too of good level. Fine. So new CLAT pattern deals a lot about reading skills. English में reading comprehension ही आएंगे. Some kind of grammar based correction courses might appear in that also, but primarily on reading. And one section is legal reasoning, which is again more towards reading interpretation than law. But again, to interpret that legal passage, the passage to legal element, to interpret that properly, you should have a basic knowledge of small legal aspects. What is torts, what is crime, what is contract. The details you will be taught in law school. बट वाइल प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर क्लैट थोड़ा सा एलिमेंट्री नॉलेज आपको अगर होगा, जो हम लोग भी करते हैं, बाकी सारे इंस्टीट्यूट भी करते होंगे, तो उससे आपको चीजों को समझने में काफी हेल्प मिलती है थ्रू इंटरप्रेटेड इन बेटर क्विक मैनर एंड एक्यूरेसी के साथ उसको आप इंटरप्रेट कर पाते हो. दिस इज ऑल अबाउट क्लैट पेपर पैटर्न. सिंस पलाश हैज आल्सो क्रैक्ड क्लैट, आई थिंक ट्वाइस. Palash, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Okay, so you are a very experienced kind of person. So what you suggest the young aspirants who are willing for CLAT exam, to how should they study for CLAT?
Okay, so first off, there is no universally correct way of studying for CLAT or for any other exam for that matter. So the idea, I see a lot of students sir, जो इंटरनेट पे भी पूछते हैं, आपको अगर पर्सनली भी कांटेक्ट करेंगे, मैंने कोचिंग पे भी देखा है कि सर पढ़ने का सही तरीका क्या है. पढ़ने का तरीका होता है, उसमें सही गलत हैज टू वर्क फॉर यू. व्हाट वर्क्स फॉर यू. नाउ देयर इज ओनली वन वे ऑफ डूइंग इट. इसमें मैं आपको ये नहीं बता सकता आपके लिए एग्जैक्टली क्या तरीका क्या है, क्योंकि हर स्टूडेंट के लिए वेरी करेगा. हाउएवर कुछ मोटे मोटे सिद्धांत हैं, सम प्रिंसिपल्स व्हिच वर्क फॉर एवरीवन. सो फर्स्ट इज ऑब्वियसली आइडेंटिफाइंग योर स्ट्रेंथ्स एंड वीकनेसेस. If you know that you are not very, if you're numerically challenged as I was, which I am not anymore thanks to Abhishek sir, thank you. So if you are numerically challenged, it makes no sense कि तुम सबसे पहले just because math का section start है, you start with that. No, do that. Always start with your strength. Work your way downwards. Give the most. First, get the easy marks in. Right. If you watch cricket, of course, this is India. Almost everyone does. You always get the easy runs in first. You do not hit a six unless unless you know it's a do or die situation. You always get the twos and ones in first before you go for the big shots. Do that.Ig shots would help you. Your math, if that is your weakness, is your big shot. But your English, your legal reasoning, if that is where your strength lies, is your bread and butter. That's your one and twos. Do not miss those runs. So the first thing is identify your strengths and weaknesses and start with your strongest, work to your weaknesses. What I would propose. Secondly, and this is the only other rule which universally applies in my experience, I may be wrong, is that work. There is no way around it. Revision. So growing up, I used to watch a lot of Kung Fu and Bruce Lee movies, right? So there's a very famous dialogue from Bruce Lee that I am not at danger from you because of the 10,000 moves you have practiced once, but I am at danger from you because of the one move that you have practiced 10,000 times. Because that move you will never get wrong, right? So practice your moves, practice, revise it, callous it in your mind, practice it so well that, and have a schedule for practicing. Do not wake up and decide this is what I will practice today. Have a schedule, have dates. Any project that you will later deliver in your professional life also, any project that you will work on will have established deadlines. So the best way, because why is that? Because that works, right? You know what you have to deliver on. Hold yourself accountable, set deadlines and work, put in the work. So first rule, set your weaknesses, strengths, identify what are those, work on them. Secondly, know where your strengths lie, of course, work on them. And secondly, put in the work in where you are weak. Do not so I see a lot of students who say, meko maths nahi aata, and they act like that is, something cool, something to be proud of. I am bad at English, and they wear it like a badge of honor. No, being stupid is not a badge of honor. Acknowledge there is nothing wrong with not knowing something, right? I did not know a lot of things when I started. I think Abhishek sir knows that I was the only student in the top 10 in the mocks who had a negative score on math once. And I think that record hasn't been shattered since. So, right, do not wear your ignorance as a badge of honor. Work on what you are lacking in and you will get the results you seek. And I mean, I would also want to give like some word notes on caution on like because this is a question that is also asked about coaching institutes and whether it is needed. But I think that I can answer later. For your strategy, this should be it.
All right, Palash, you are being too modest and humble while saying the strategies. I'll add on to it. पलाश का ही केस में आपसे डिस्कस कर लेता हूँ. वी यूजुअली हैव पेरेंट्स टीचर मीटिंग, देन वी डिस्कस बच्चों में क्या इम्प्रूवमेंट चाहिए, क्या करना है. एंड मुझे अभी तक याद है, इसके पापा से हमने बोला था कि इसके बारे में हम कुछ नहीं बोल सकते, आप बताओ आपको कुछ कहना है, बिकॉज ही इज वन ऑफ द स्टूडेंट हु वाज कंसिस्टेंटली इन टॉप 3 throughout the mock papers. Fine. इसके I clearly remind इसके पापा कह रहे थे कि सर मुझे एक शिकायत है, ये संडे को 18 घंटे पढ़ता है, हमें डर लगता है इसकी तबीयत खराब नहीं हो जाए. This was the word of his father. And then the next day I asked him why. So he said, सर मंडे को आप लोग मॉक कराते हो तो मैं संडे को पूरा सिलेबस रिवाइज करके आता हूँ एज इफ इट इज लाइक ए क्लैट पेपर. सो ऑल द फ्यूचर लॉ एस्पिरेंट जो भी क्लैट की तैयारी करने की सोच रहे हैं, आई स्ट्रांगली रिकमेंड टू यू टेक इट वेरी सीरियसली. पलाश ने ये प्रूव किया है. लर्निंग ग्राफ इसका मुझे पता है, ये मैथ्स में कहाँ से कहाँ पहुंचा है. एंड राइट नाउ ही क्लियर्ड एनलेस बैंगलोर. एनलेस बैंगलोर में भी आपको एक एडिशन देता हूँ, ही बिलोंग्स टू द टॉप स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ एनलेस बैंगलोर. नॉट जस्ट क्लियर्ड एनलेस बैंगलोर, ही क्लियर्ड एनलेस बैंगलोर टू ए वेरी गुड रैंक. एंड पीपल यूज्ड टू से पलाश कहाँ मिलेगा, पलाश सबसे पहले जाके लाइब्रेरी में ढूंढो, लाइब्रेरी में बैठा हुआ मिलेगा. वहां नहीं मिला, देन इट्स डिफिकल्ट टू फाइंड आउट पलाश. फाइन. सो ही इज दैट काइंड ऑफ एकेडमिक एंड लेबरियस स्टूडेंट. सो जो भी लोग क्लैट की तैयारी करने की सोच रहे हैं, मॉक पेपर्स, रिविजन, when your study schedule, you should be very disciplined, very focused related to, in respect to them. Like Palash is one of my student who never lied to himself, and that's the biggest quality of Palash जो उसको लाइफ में बहुत आगे लेके जाएगी. You should never lie to yourself. If you lie to someone who is not of good meaning in your life, does not matter. लेकिन खुद से झूठ जिस दिन बोलोगे उस दिन फिर आप कभी ग्रोथ नहीं पा पाओगे. Fine. I'll also like Paddy sir to add something, that what is your kind of suggestion to all future law aspirants जो CLAT 22 या 23 में देना चाहते हो.
So when I wrote the entrance exam, Abhishek, there's only one national law school, that is National Law School Bangalore. You know, and the entrance for that was, you had to actually go into National Law School Bangalore and sit there at the center and write the exam. So you could actually see 2,000, 3,000 students writing the exam. Unfortunately, I couldn't get in. Because I was not as competitive or as planned as Palash was. You know, I could not spend my Saturday studying 18 hours. You know, I don't think so I could ever do that. But the generation of the students are, really hardworking. You know, I was a sports person also, and I used to play badminton and I used to love cricket. So, as you know, 60 or 70% of our time we used to be on the ground playing, and even before the exams, I used to play because I used to think that, that always helps me to go and write the exam in a very relaxed manner. I've taken exams very easy all throughout my life, and that has helped me to get a lot of accolades and scholarships and everything, but that's a different story. But if you want to crack CLAT, I think it's very simple, guys. I don't know the better way of doing it today rather than just being part of CLAT prep. I think it's very simple, very easy. You need not just mentors, you need good qualified teachers. Coaching is not a easy game. I can say this. Why I can say this? In 2019, I was working for Law School Admission Council, which is based out of Pennsylvania, US. And I was trying to, re-establish the LSAT office. LSAT is an exam which I brought to India, So I was trying to set the Indian office. So as part of that, I took a chance to actually go and visit roughly around about 250 coaching institutes in India, which actually coach students. I don't think so anybody in India would have done what I have done. City to city, center to center. I have not only visited, but I have sat and had conversation what their planning is. But I will tell you very honestly, okay? I am not seeing Abhishek just today. I'm seeing Abhishek from 2009. I have been to his center day in, day out. I've been interacting with the students day in, day out. I really like the kind of seriousness they take in doing this job. They don't think it is a job. they feel that it is a service. They feel that students who come to them, they own a responsibility of not only training them, but also mentoring them. It's not, your work is not just done getting into National Law School. I think this is the only place where every year Abhishek tries to reaches out to his students, ask them how they are doing, takes feedback from them, gives it to the next batch of students who are trying to enter into the law school. I think that kind of handholding is superbly done. Simple. You want to think about CLAT, you want to think about National Law School, send a message to Abhishek and be rest assured you'll get a plan that you would follow, or he will make you follow. It is no way you'll talk to your parents and make sure that you follow. To make, see, it is very competitive, guys. 70, 80 students write National Law School, CLAT exams, and hardly 80 students get into National Law School back. You have to be competitive. You need to get a plan, and if you are not capable of making a plan, you need people to make that plan, and those people who actually believe that they can actually make this happen for you. For me, there is no simple mantra. CLAT prep is what will help you to crack CLAT. Simple.
Thank you, Paddy. I think you have endorsed a lot about me. Okay, I'll take it.
No,
But
I've known
again,
you, Abhishek. I've known you for 15 years. I might as well
yes,
do. I'm not talking about a personal.
I usually always say to parents and students, it's basically a kind of teamwork, whereas mentoring is my job, and whatever I'm teaching you, absorb it and apply it. It's your job. So if we both are honest in on our intent, we'll definitely get amazing results. So this is our motto, which we are carrying on since last many years. All right, I'll ask one more question, then we'll wind up today's seminar. Some of the student asked that if not national universities, then what? I would like to hear from both of you about alternate options that are available to the students, and also I'll ask Palash later on to say if uh, are there good colleges which are at par with national universities as far as his understanding is goes. Fine, so let's start with Paddy. Sir, if not national universities, then what?
See, what is basically attracting students towards National Law School? Quality of faculty, quality of resources, quality of opportunities, quality of hand holding, quality of internship opportunities, branding, employability, reputation. Right now, let me tell you, you have to know that all these things are not there with all national law schools. You have to keep that in mind. As a person who has been in this profession and academia for 15 years, I can very clearly and bluntly say, apart from the top 5 national law schools, the other national law schools are all on slippery slope. Many of them don't even have faculty to teach. I have to be very honest here. If you're aspirational and if you're thinking about national law schools, follow the dream. And if you get into the top 5 national law schools, please be part of it. I'm I'm a person who will be in this profession, and I don't want students to come and challenge me. But if you're not getting into the top 5 national law schools, there are other good private law schools which are actually trying to do a good job, because you need to know this. When it comes to public institutions, apart from the ones which are very well funded, which have been in existence for a long time, where faculty attrition is very less, are the ones who are able to mold the students. But when it comes to private, the salary that the private law schools pay for good faculty is very good. They are able to attract really good faculty members today. So my idea would be is look at why you get attracted to a national law school. And if you see those characteristics in a good private law schools, I think you can still be a part of those private law schools. Be it faculty, be it opportunities, be it teaching, be it elective courses, be it reputation. So if these 5 characteristics are not there in the national law school, then even that national law school is actually not the law school that you should be supposed to be joining. Unfortunately, today what is happening is, Palash can say, there is just this NLU tag that has been attached to more than 27 law schools, and everybody is blindly running that herd race that, oh, I'm part of this. And I know only that how much struggle they have to go through. And I think they're doing much, I would say, worse than students are doing much better in some of the other private law schools. So for me is, what are the driving factors for you to select the top 5 law schools should be the driving factors for you to select even the top private law schools. If you see these two matching, then I don't see a point why you should not be joining good private law schools. I will rest my case here, but I would want Palash also to add.
All right. So Palash, I think number of your friends are into national law school. You also have very big friend group who's not from national knowledge schools. You also have colleagues who are from national knowledge schools as well as non-national knowledge schools. So, if not national law universities, then what are the options what students should do? Should he study again for CLAT, or there are private colleges which are at par with national universities?
Okay, so I will state something very controversial at this time. So I think, sir, that national law schools, IITs, and they are part of a failed socialist experiment which has now come of age. Okay, now as soon as you allow competition into the market, all national law universities have gotten a run for their money, which should have been from the first place. So this idea कि commanding high tech economy की वो आपके सारे देश के सारे colleges, law colleges वही चलाएगी, सरकारी चलाएगी, वो idea almost has been consigned to the dustbin of history now. जैसे जैसे आप मार्केट में कंपटीशन अलाउ करेंगे वैसे वैसे जो प्राइवेट लॉ स्कूल्स हैं, सो फॉर इंस्टेंस मैं पर्सनली जो मेरे फ्रेंड्स हैं बीएम मुंजाल वगैरह में या जेजीएलएस में, आईएफआईएम फॉर इंस्टेंस प्रोफेसर पद्मनाभन हैज बीन मॉडेस्ट, ही हैज नॉट स्पोकन अबाउट हिज ओन लॉ स्कूल वैसे. So I will tell you one thing. Any law school, as Professor Padmanabhan said, which has quality teaching, which focuses on students, which works to give you practical exposure, is a good law school. Do not run after an NLU tag. Because if you just run after an NLU tag, you might end up with an NLU tag, but sadly that is the only thing you will end up with, not anything other than that. If you want good marketable skills, if you want employability, always keep in mind that good private law schools exist. And if you do not get so most of the students here in this webinar, practically speaking, want to end up with a job by the end of 5 years. That is the case. Other things matter, but jobs is what they are. What is their end goal? That is a practical framework we can look at. So if jobs is what you seek, then from my perspective, again, controversial, doesn't make a lot of sense to go to a law school which is under NLU Jodhpur, for instance, in public perception. Then turn to, or NLIU Bhopal, for instance. Then turn to private law schools. Private law schools have a lot to offer, and they're working very hard to get their students the opportunities that national law schools have been given by the state. National law schools work because they're the darlings of the government, right? सरकार ने आपको सब कुछ दिया हुआ है पहले से, एक established infrastructure है. Private law schools again are hungry. They want the work. They want to get it done. And I think if you do not get the first few law schools, a good idea is to switch to private. That is my personal opinion.
All right. So I'll also add on to this. We always used to say to students and parents that there's a hierarchy of colleges in every field, whether you go for engineering or you go for medical or you go for law. There tier 1 college, tier 2 college, tier 3 college, tier 4 college. That's a simple rule of averages that is applicable everywhere across the world. While you talk about MBA, there are wonderful MBA colleges. Then there are good MBA colleges. Then there are fair enough. Then there are average, and there are below average. The same hierarchy works in law field also. And it's not about only in NLU. NLU, being an NLU, will definitely give you some psychological advantage, some advantage in market perception. Definitely, you will find good competitive students because they have cleared the exam, and you find top 2000 students of India among yourself. तो वो एक अच्छा बंच ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स है, कॉम्पिटिटिव बंच ऑफ स्टूडेंट है, उनके साथ आप रह के पढ़ोगे तो डेफिनेटली हैव सम कॉम्पिटिटिव एडवांटेजेस. बट अगेन देयर आर लॉट ऑफ प्राइवेट कॉलेजेस जो बहुत अच्छे हैं, और मैं बहुत प्रैक्टिकली इसका जवाब अगर आपको देता हूँ. पलाश वाज अर्लियर इन लॉ फर्म, और इसकी लॉ फर्म के अंदर एनएलएस बैंगलोर के बच्चे भी थे, एनएलयू जोधपुर के बच्चे भी थे, प्राइवेट कॉलेज के बच्चे भी थे. तो एवरीबडी वाज एट द सेम लेवल. फाइन. सो इट डिपेंड्स कि आप वहां 5 साल जाने के बाद कितनी मेहनत करते हैं. यू गो टू एनएलएस बैंगलोर, यू डू नॉट स्टडी, यू वोंट हैव अ गुड करियर. एंड ऑफ द स्टोरी. सिर्फ एनएलयू बैंगलोर का टैग है, इसके कारण लाइफ नहीं बनेगी आपकी. यस, यू विल गेट अ बूस्ट अप. आप अगर बहुत मेहनत करते हैं कॉलेज में जाके, तो एनएलयू बैंगलोर में जाके बहुत मेहनत करेंगे तो आपको यू विल गेट इट विल वर्क एज अ कैटलिस्ट इन योर सक्सेस. फाइन. सेम गोज सेम इज एप्लीकेबल टू गुड प्राइवेट लॉ कॉलेजेस. अगेन द थिंग इज फैकल्टी, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं होता, इंपॉर्टेंट होती है फैकल्टी एंड योर पीयर ग्रुप. किन लोगों से आप पढ़ रहे हो और किन बच्चों के बीच में बैठ के आप पढ़ रहे हो, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो अगर आपको एक प्राइवेट कॉलेज में ये डिसेंट अमाउंट में मिल रहा है, देन इट इज बेटर देन लोअर एनएलयूज जो जहां पे ये चीजें लैक कर रही हैं. फाइन. सो आई थिंक वी हैव समड अप. बेसिकली one student asked, do we need coaching for CLAT? I'll take a bit of liberty in answering to that. देखिए, वो एक चीज समझिए, इट्स ए कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम विच विल हिट ऑन योर स्किल बेस्ड काइंड ऑफ सेट एंड एप्टीट्यूड लेवल का आपको चेक करेगा. अगर नॉलेज बेस्ड सब्जेक्ट्स की बात करें तो दैट यू कैन रीड एट होम. आई वुड ऑल्सो से कि आप अगर सिर्फ नॉलेज की बात करेंगे तो वो आप घर बैठ के थ्योरी पढ़ सकते हैं बुक से, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. लेकिन व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम जो स्किल बेस्ड हैं, और कॉम्पिटिटिव भी एज फार एज इंडिया इज कंसर्न, जहाँ कॉम्पिटिशन भर भर के होता है, आप कोई भी एग्जाम स्टार्ट करो, बहुत सारे आपको वॉल्यूम उसमें मिलेगा. तो इट इज रिकमेंडेड इट इज यू जॉइन ए कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट. आई थिंक Palash you also agree with me in this
Yes.
matter.
So
And
yes, strictly speaking,
yes.
sir, you do not need coaching, but it helps a lot, right? Because a lot. This is a younger audience. They play video games, right? So I was playing a video game the other day, Hitman 3. I could not figure out how to get through it. It's a very vast game. The world is open. बहुत सारा चक्कर है उसमें. But then I went to YouTube. I opened a walkthrough video and I was through it in like 5-10 minutes. 10 minutes stage complete. So that is what a coaching institute gives you. You can do, it's a walkthrough video. These are people who have spent their life getting people into the universities you want to get into. Why would you not want to use their experience? And of course, Clat Prep has, as Tautlock, you were famous. I'm sure these students would know caveat, caveat emptor, right? Buyer beware. So when you go looking for coachings, when you go looking for these people who are training you, be very careful about who you go to, right? Because there's a lot of people out there with very dubious credibility trying to dupe you of your money. They will promise you the world but deliver nothing. Clat Prep, as I can speak from my personal experience, has delivered more than enough. You need a coaching for two reasons. You need it to for constant revision, and you need it to know how to. It's a walkthrough. It gives you all. It's like in the Matrix, taking the red pill. So you see what is the reality of everything. You take the red pill is like what going to a coaching is. Once you take the red pill, you know the functioning of the exam. It gives you the tools that you would not otherwise have by yourself. So Abhishek sir, आप तो जानते ही हैं, when I first appeared for CLAT, I did it by myself. I did not take a coaching. So I prepared for 2 months, but I ended up at NLU Jodhpur. I did not get NLS. That I did not go for different reasons. But then later, when I prepared with coaching this time, the difference was remarkable because जो चीजें मैं पहले करने की सोचता भी नहीं था कि I was like कि इस question को ऐसे ही attempt करने का एक ही तरीका है. And then my world was changed, saying कि but how does it help you strategically? So giving that framework, giving those tools, helping you attempt the exam, and the results are obvious. The next time I got NLS. So coaching, definitely, you don't strictly need it, but you don't strictly need a lot of things which you anyways use, right? You don't need a running app, but you still use it to track your progress. You don't need a weight support, but you still use it while lifting weights. So Iron Man doesn't need a power armor to save the world. He has the money, but he still uses the power armor. Use the power armor.
Last thing I will just say why students should know this. I don't know whether Palash knows this, but I just wanted to just narrate a small story in 20 seconds. How did the coaching start for law school? You all have to know that the first law school coaching started by the students who were the National Law School Bangalore students through a postal called, through a postal system. And that is how it actually started, because the students who were inside the National Law School felt that Sachin Malan, was a National Law School Bangalore student, along with a couple of his friends, actually started the entire idea of coaching and hand-holding students who are interested in cracking national law schools. So you have to understand, as Palash says, you might have a great mind, you might be extraordinarily an excellent and brilliant child, but two things are going to really hurt you. One, lack of materials. We are not an organized world. We are not an organized place. If you go and search for quality mock papers, you don't get it, right? Second, as Palash said, the fact that how to try to get new ideas to solve the problem and reduce the time in solving the problem, the tricks, I think those things are crucial. And for me, is if you're really dreaming and if you think that you want to go to National Law School, there's no harm in taking an L in cracking it, right? It's like this: a student who's preparing to get into Harvard has to prepare for LSAT, but there the tutorials are given by LSAT. There are hand-holding done by LSAT. Similarly, in India, we don't have such a centralized team. It's only those coaching institutes which are trying to help you, right? It's like students who go to class 12, they want to crack and they want to be the state toppers, but still they go to tuitions, right? So you have to understand that you may have X knowledge, but that if that X knowledge is not going to actually help you crack, there's no harm in taking that help, additional help, which will give you both in terms of materials, in terms of quality time, in terms of exclusive hours with the faculty, in terms of practice test, which I think is really crucial today for cracking CLAT. The more practice test you take, the more used to you become with the exam, and that actually brings your ability to take these exams in a much more easier manner. So all these things are good factors for you to keep in mind. As Palash says, nothing is compulsory, but if these things are available, you might as well use it.
Thanks a lot, Professor Paddy and Palash, for this wonderful session, so that the students get a lot of insight and answer to a lot of queries. Still, number of questions are still unanswered. Me and my team will answer them in text format, since we are running out of the time. So, जिन का भी अभी questions के हम लोग answer कैटर नहीं कर पाए, will definitely answer them in due course of time in the comment sections. Fine. Thank you, both of you, for being in this panel along with me. I hope बच्चों को इससे कुछ फायदा मिला होगा, and we'll keep on continuing such kind of sessions to help other young law aspirants. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thanks, Palash.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Same here. Thank you.